Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome to this week's live stream. This week it's all about bots, a really hot topic that I know we all can't wait to get stuck into. On the sofa tonight we've got CEO Mark Gerhard here. We've also got lead designer of RuneScape, Mod Mark.
Hello.
How you doing guys, you alright?
Yeah, pretty good.
Awesome. So once again this week we've pulled together all of the questions that you've been sending us about the bot topic, and we've collected all the most important ones and the most asked ones, and I've got them all here. I'm going to be throwing them at these guys in a few minutes. First of all though, would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
You've just done that for us, Paul.
Yeah, but you know, it's much nicer if you tell us a little bit about your hobbies and your favourite colour. And
Come on, they know who we are.
How did you get here today, and an amusing story about a goat? I don't know.
A goat? Well, I'm Mark Ogilvie. In game, you'll know me as Mod Mark, and I'm the lead designer of RuneScape. And my favourite colour is definitely yellow.
Mark Gerhard, better known as Mod MMG. My favourite colour is blue.
Oh, I knew that.
It's predictable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're already breaking barriers down here. That we've already really got a real insight into these guys' lives. So I'm feeling pretty good about tonight.
Yeah.
During the stream, if you've got any questions at all that you want to get in touch with, if you've got any comments, if there's anything that you need a bit of clarity on or something, do send us a message on Facebook or on Twitter. It's we've got a hashtag which is RSLive, and it's @RuneScape is the Twitter address, and on Facebook it's Facebook/RuneScape. Right, we've got that out of the way. So we get stuck in then, get some questions on the go.
Yeah, let's talk about evil bots.
Question number one then. Question number one. This is coming from Skiller Uso, and they would like to say, when did bots first appear in RuneScape that you can remember?
My mic has slipped somewhere horrible.
That's a really good start.
Where has it gone?
This is, this is the bit where we fill.
Oh no, it's completely disappeared down my top.
So hey Mark, would you like to tell us about when you first remember bots appearing in RuneScape?
I think Oggie's story is far more interesting, but it goes way back to RuneScape Classic. I wasn't around at the time, but I mean, I think that's even why they introduced things like sleeping bags and other things like that to try and slow them down. So it's certainly been a problem from the very beginning of the game.
Cool. How are you getting on there?
There's like a funny little clip thing here. You see, this is why I'm creative, you see, because technically,
Because it wouldn't be a RuneScape stream though if we didn't have some issue with audio though.
That is very true. My
can you multitask?
Could be more than enough.
Can you multitask?
For these microphones, I think it's almost on. I think that's it. I'm looking for.
Can I just say you better have a good answer now?
The thumbs are up. Right. So yeah, I can remember bots straight away. Really, not only as a player, but also when I first started working here. Because actually, I started in customer support. And I can remember playing Classic. There was a spot where, I think it's the Al-Kharid mine, there was some runes that spawned on the floor there, and I can remember that I needed to go and get some runes, because this is well before a rune crafting skill or anything like that. I wanted to cast some magic, went there to try and get some runes, and there was always a bot there just picking up stuff. I wasn't even sure what it was. I tried to talk to it like it was a player. Got really annoyed because it was always faster at picking up things than I was. So eventually some high-level players came along. They knew it was a bot, so they started dropping runes on the floor and dragged this thing away and dragged it to an area with some aggressive creatures. I think it was some scorpions actually just around the corner from where the bot was, and the scorpions killed the bot, and then I picked up all the runes that it dropped. So it was pretty cool, really. But even as a member of customer support, we knew that there were bots out there. And at the time, because the game was so small, we managed to do things about the very small amount of accounts that were actually breaking our rules. We could do things independently. We could do things, enforce the rules that we had. So there were all sorts of like little bot bans and things like that we had really, really early on because our player base was so small. But some of the bots were really crazy. I can remember the flax picking bots as well. We used to be able to dress up in green, and there was the same colour green that they were looking for on the ground. And because they were sort of colour sweepers, we could drag them away to different areas and play tricks on the bots.
What's a colour sweeper?
I was a screen sweeper, so they would look across the screen for certain colours, and then when they detected those colours, the mouse click would be automatic. So then they'd go and they'd pick up those things that were that colour. So if they were sweeping the screen looking for a certain shade of green that was the flax, and you dressed up in some costume which was that green, then you could drag them all over the world. It's quite good fun.
Right, okay, so the short answer then is, When did bots first appear in RuneScape?
I'm no good at short answers, sorry, you should know that, Paul. So they've been in RuneScape for as long as I can remember. I started in the company in 2003, and certainly we had some problems with them then.
Okay, cool. So next up, there's a question from Aerox Master from the forums. Why not develop a system that prevents the automated registration of bots in the first place?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the ways of doing it. We clearly know there's certain locations that are very prevalent with creation of bot type accounts or other gold farming accounts, and we're able to identify those and throttle them. But the reality is, until someone actually starts botting, you don't know. They're no longer exhibiting human type behavior. So it does take a short while now to actually detect it, rather than actually being able to prevent it, unless we obviously blocked off complete continents.
Yeah, it's very difficult for us to know that someone's a bot before they've logged into the game. Usually you can tell if they're a bot based on the activities that they're doing while they're there. It's really difficult for us to identify it beforehand. And as Mark says, there are some things that we can look at, but generally speaking, it's quite difficult to work out if they're a bot before they're actually interacting with the product.
Cool, there isn't anything sort of before you actually kind of get to log in that raises alarm bells or anything like that, I suppose?
Well, and there are certain things which we can look at, and we are actually looking at those things now. Part of the evolution of the bot watch, which is what we're going to be talking about later, is to be able to identify trends and certain things that they always seem to be doing when they're creating accounts. And we can look at very clever things that help us to identify those trends and then ban the bots before they're even in the game. But those trends change, so it's difficult to stay on top of the problem. The bot watch is all about dealing with the problem once it's actually happening.
Yeah, once you start using the bot.
Exactly.
So I guess it's about making sure you can take whatever action you need to take sort of quickly and swiftly once they do actually get into
That's right. Yeah, and actually the system that we've got happens so quickly that it's almost impossible to do anything for any length of time at all.
Okay, cool. Right, next question comes from Borax, which is also on the forums. What top 5 countries appear to host the most bots? Or is this hard to be definitive about given proxies, etc.? Do you want to explain what proxies are, first of all?
Proxy is a way of hiding your address or your internet address or origins. Yes, I mean, proxies are used. The reality is actually there's a finite amount of them out there, and they tend to be pretty well used by the same people. So that's a very easy way of picking it up. But to answer the question directly, I mean, most, in terms of top 5, I mean, certainly top 2 would be China and Korea in terms of botting type activities and creation.
Okay. Any other 3?
It's difficult to tell. I mean, obviously, we've got a high density of players in certain areas like America, UK, Canada, Australia. So anywhere where there are lots of, accounts, genuine accounts that are being produced, it's quite often that we'll see those things quite high up in terms of where the bots are being generated. But they're certainly not as big as the ones that Mark's already mentioned.
Okay. So next up, we've got a question from Ms. Melissa, and Ms. Melissa would like to say, you stated when free trade came back, you had a state-of-the-art bot detection system in place. That clearly was not the case. How can players be confident in the Botany Bay update?
So I think we can be very confident of the Botany Bay update, specifically because it takes a very different approach. Prior to the launch of the Wilderness, all our anti-bot measures were really around breaking the bots, preventing the bots from hooking into our code, and things like that. And that's what Cluster Flutter did, which broke at the time some 98% of all the bots. But that's very much an arms race. And as we're able to obfuscate our code, shuffle it in different ways, they've continued to evolve and find other ways of hooking into it. Now, clearly that's ongoing. But we spent some time going. That was a good first start. We took down a lot of bot makers at that time. There's only really 2 major bot makers that have kind of remained in the market, so to speak. And at the same time, we were saying, well, how do we also pick up the other 2% that we weren't able to actually detect at the time the color pickers, the screen
Yeah.
scraper type bots. And we really moved from, protecting our source and obfuscating it through to actually detecting non-human type behavior. And, the same thing that allows players to get suspicious or have a strong sense that there's a bot in game, he's not replying, or he's replying with canned answers, my levels are, whatever it might be, was a far smarter way of actually detecting bots. So rather than actually just preventing them from accessing our code, actually as soon as they're used and continue to be used, we're able to very quickly profile the behaviors of that account and work out what's human and what's not. And so we've now got a far more scalable solution. It's clearly an arms race.
Yeah.
And for everything we do, our challenge is bots become more human in their behavior. But again, we've got a number of ways of, we've thought about this long and hard. We've got a number of ways of dealing with that down the line. And I think I'm more confident than ever.
Yeah, definitely.
That this is going to be a far more scalable solution for us.
Also, because this is a system which just works without any kind of effort from us, as it were. It's kind of an automated system. We need to be 100% sure that we're not going to be banning any legitimate players. We need to be confident that we're not going to get, like high-level players that are, sort of using power gaming techniques to raise their levels really quickly. We don't want legitimate players to be accidentally caught by this system. So we just have to make sure that it's really, really robust. And even last year, when we brought back the wilderness, it took us a while to make sure that the systems that we had in place were going to work. So sometimes these things take longer than we were intending, and we're always looking after the players. That's our number one objective. So we don't want anyone to be accidentally banned, for doing something that was perfectly okay. It's really, really important to us that we just get the people that are breaking the rules.
Yeah, I know that every time we do something like a bot nuke, you do get a slew of people who are concerned that they've done X or Y, and
caught accidentally.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cool. Okay, so the next question comes from Splatterlot on the forums.
And sorry, just to that point,
yeah.
so we're absolutely confident no one's going to get caught accidentally.
Yeah,
by
exactly.
the new system.
Okay, cool. Splatterlot says, have you ever considered removing free trade in the wilderness again? Not only has it brought back bots, hijacking, gambling and so on, the community that has come with it seems a lot less shadier, so to speak.
So I think a really important thing here is to say that the changes that we made previously had a greater impact on genuine gameplay than we expected. If you've got a friend that you want to introduce to RuneScape, you want to get them into the game, if you want to give them a handful of bits of armor, if you want to give them a bit of cash to get started, there's nothing wrong with that. And the old system, it prevented that from happening, which wasn't something that we really liked. And also the way that it changed the wilderness, kind of swapping the wilderness for things like the craters, bounty hunter, it just changed the game too much for what we wanted. So in many ways, we didn't think it was fair to make that kind of impact to legitimate gameplay just to deal with the botting gold farming issues. We felt it would be better to deal with those problems in a way where we didn't need to change the game.
And do you feel confident if we did do a vote that players would still choose to keep the wilderness and free trade?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident of that, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Got a question now from Break Yelps, and Break Yelps would like to ask, why are you choosing to try and impede bots instead of asking why people would choose to bot in the first place?
So RuneScape's a massive game, and I always say to people, RuneScape's about the journey. People that play the game, they have level 99s as their objectives, and they want to achieve level 99 in all skills. And not everybody likes all skills. We have a massive game, we have a massive community, and there's all sorts of different sorts of gameplay that exist within RuneScape. And I'm really confident of the designs that we put into the game. I have a fantastic team, make excellent content. But there's always going to be content which doesn't appeal to everybody. But those people still want to achieve all of the things that they want to achieve in the game. So they feel like they're going to use a bot to get through the content that they don't want to do. And you know, that's a really unfortunate side of things. I mean, RuneScape's got so much content, you can't expect everybody to love everything. I mean, you know, we've got some really passionate players out there, but not everybody likes everything that we do. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are impatient. In a way.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
it's very different kind of space now, the kind of gaming industry, from the way it was sort of 5 years ago as well.
People want a quick hit, I suppose.
Yeah, people are a lot more interested in a kind of quick hit, or you know, they're not prepared to invest the time. And you look at the high score tables, you know, you've got people that have been playing the game for 10, 11 years, and people want to be able to compete with those people, and they feel like they've got to use a bot in order to do that, which you know, that's just the nature of the game, a game like RuneScape. So, you know, bots are illegal. They're not. We don't like them. They're not welcome in the game. But I can understand why people might choose to do that kind of thing with a game like RuneScape, particularly if it's content that you're not really enjoying. But it's strange, you know. A lot of people will say, "Well, I really hate fire-making skill." But there are a lot of people that really, really enjoy fire making because they see it as a skill that they can get to level 99 quite quickly. So it's not as though everyone's using the bots for the same reason either. It's very different for lots and lots of people.
Okay, cool.
Does that answer the question?
I think it does. Yeah.
Good.
So Dorp from the forums asked, what exactly is the point of Botany Bay apart from boosting faith in Jagex? The bots just could have been banned without that island and system around it. It seems like some wasted development time to me, as you're punishing a program instead of a player. What do you reckon to that?
Well, there's a player behind the account, clearly. We thought, look, these accounts are getting banned anyway. Turn it into some theatre and actually give the community the decision on how they die, be it crushed by a dragon or struck down by lightning,
eaten by an abyssal worm.
Yeah.
We wanted to have a bit of fun, you know, that's the honest
We're going to ban
answer.
them anyway. Exactly.
We knew we were going to ban them. It was Mark's idea. I mean, he said, right, come on, let's put something in the game. Let's have a bit of fun with the players. You know, these bots have been causing these players grief. We want to be able to give the legitimate players you know, a sense that they're getting involved in what we're doing. And it's a really nice space, and it really didn't take a lot of development time to do it. I mean, it's fully voice acted. Graphics team had a lot of fun making the environment. We had a lot of fun choosing the different punishments that we could do. All sorts of different ideas. Well, there were loads of crazy ideas really early on.
What are some of the rejected ones?
Oh, so, do you want to tell them about the loot pinata? I always laughed at this.
Is it rejected?
Well, maybe not rejected, but you know, batch 2, watch this space.
So we had some cool ideas where, you know, the account that, you know, was effectively called botting, and as I say, you know, at that point it's banned, it's being wiped out. It's just the players being able to enjoy what's happening to it. We had ones where they kind of get beaten by the stick of shame, and you kind of the XP and cash kind of bleeds out of it through to the human pinata.
Yeah,
where they kind of
I like the idea.
The loot was strapped to them, and as you kind of.
We're thinking like tarring and feathering them and flogging them through the streets and making them walk through.
Dropping them in the wilderness.
Chuck them in the wilderness, so they get beat around the head, and they're like, you know, coins coming out of them, or even the idea that, you know, you're killing this character, and you know that when they're reduced to 0 life points, they're never ever going to come back, and there's something a little bit more interactive. But
well, you're properly killing them.
There's loads of technical concerns about wilderness type effects working in areas that aren't PvP. There are all sorts of. It's just a little bit more difficult for us to do, and we wanted to do something quick and easy and just have a bit of fun with the players, which is why we picked the thing that we did. And it's kind of related thematically to things like witch hunts, you know, old kind of Salem witch trials, those kind of things. And they're all sorts of things that we looked at and got inspired about what we were doing, because, you know, these bots, let's not beat around the bush, they're scum at the end of the day. They're not welcome in the game. They affect everything, affect the price of the items on the Grand Exchange. They muck about with our economy. It's just not good. They you know, do crazy things on the high score tables. It's just not welcome in the game. So why not? Why not have a bit of fun with the players? You know, that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah. Also, I mean, you know, we ban millions of accounts for botting, but I think a lot of that also doesn't get seen, and this kind of gives each world its own kind of trials to be able to see. I mean, clearly, not everyone's going to be able to sit in front of a jury of their peer gamers, but I mean, as in a lot of them will just get banned anyway, depending on what the queue lengths are.
There's no queue.
Do you think that people will recognise some of the accounts that they actually sort of like see rocking up there?
I hope so.
Possibly, yeah.
You always said you never used bots, but it's.
So I mean, if you've seen the
Well, you get the
BTS
finger of
video,
shame first.
yeah, it's this, you get this big old finger of shame come down. So if you're sat chopping down a tree or something like that, the finger of shame comes down. A bot, someone's, the graphic happens. They turn into a little robot. We grind them up in our hands. All sort of cogs and wheels and things come down. If you see that, you can immediately hop off to someone like Falador, go to the bank, spot the little announcer there, get him to teleport you to Botany Bay, and watch the trial go on right there. I mean, if there's already a trial going on, then you won't see it. And like I say, we're going to ban these things. It's not like they're going to get queued up. But if you're lucky, or, well, lucky maybe is not the right word, but you might be able to see the trial of the account that you've just seen removed from the game. Okay. That's pretty cool.
So an account going on trial isn't going to affect it actually being in game. It's not going to it's not going to mean it's going to have more chance to bot for longer before it gets taken out.
No, not at all. Nope.
Okay, cool. So the next question is probably the most asked question that we've had, and this really sort of shows how strongly against bots people feel. Why do bots get any warning at all? If someone is found botting, I think you should ban their account instantly. This stops anyone trading their profit after the first warning.
Sure. So, I mean, professional bots, the type of botting associated with gold farmers get banned right away anyway. I'm always trying to balance this tension between a player who's naive and reads the absolute BS on a botting website saying it's undetectable and no ban guarantee and all that crap, who falls for it, tries it, and I think we want to give them at least one chance to kind of rehabilitate or understand the error. There will be, even though they'll be giving a warning, first off, there's a trade restriction, time restriction, all of that.
Yep.
And look, clearly if they're persistent or belligerent, very quickly that account's going to get banned anyway. So, the idea is that the system is able to act quick enough so that no meaningful amount of wealth is actually generated whilst they've been using that bot.
Okay, so somebody uses the bot for the first time and says, "Oh, I'm going to use it until I get caught the first time, then I'll not use it." They're still losing out.
I think they'll see very quickly how good we are.
It won't work for very long at all, if any time at all.
Okay.
But it takes a while just to kind of profile the account.
The key thing here is everybody makes mistakes. We're all humans. Humans make mistakes. And it's very easy to listen to someone that says, oh, they can't identify these bots, or they'll go to a website, they'll believe the stupid stuff that's written, and they'll end up downloading something, and they'll try something out. I want to be able to warn those people. I want to be able to say you're doing something which is against the rules. Maybe they just don't know these things aren't allowed. Maybe they don't read the rules. There are a lot of people that don't read the rules, which is pretty daft. I want to give them the chance to reform. I don't think it's right to just ban legitimate players who are experimenting with bots. They're not going to be able to do it for very long at all. They're going to get slapped on the wrist. There's a three-strike system. First strike, they'll get temporarily banned, they'll have various different gameplay restrictions put on them, and hopefully at that point they'll read the rules, they'll understand that they can't get away with it, and hopefully their account actually means something to them, so they'll just stop doing it. And at the end of the day, if they choose to do it again, it's daft really. And what happens if someone hasn't used all the security stuff that we've recently set up, they've lost their account, someone runs a bot on their account, they're a genuine, legitimate player, we want to give them the chance to get their account back. I don't want to ban them straight away, that's just not fair. But, as Mark said, those professional bot users which are using bots to generate cash to sell on gold selling websites, they don't get any chances whatsoever. We'll ban them straight away.
Okay, and how do you tell the difference?
Like we said earlier, there are various different things we can use to identify.
Don't want to give away too much.
At the end of the day, if you create an account and immediately they are using a bot,
Well,
then it's pretty obvious what's
Yeah.
going on.
Okay, cool. Just to say, guys, yeah, if you do have any questions or anything, there's any comments at all, do send them in on Facebook or on Twitter, and I'll be happy to add them to the list and fire them at these guys.
Yep, it is live after all.
This is true.
Let's get some questions.
In fact, hang on a minute. Look, we've got DJ, Brad B, Seth Harper, Nick, RuneZone, Zach Swain, and Regicidal all say hi. And Isafe says, Mod Mark is pretty cool.
Thanks.
That must be a T-shirt related comment.
Well, this is a Dark Crystal t-shirt. Dark Crystal is one of my favourite films. I always say it's one of the things that inspires a lot of the content that we have in the game. And in fact, the Dragonkin, which some of you might have seen in some of the high-level content, are based around the Skeksis, which are the evil creatures in Dark Crystal. So
awesome.
Maybe it's not the t-shirt. Maybe
it's just you.
Maybe it's just me. Who knows? I doubt it.
I think it's a T-shirt. Right. Question now from Nightspeed, who says,
Can't all be as cool as you, Paul.
Is the revenue provided from these players the reason why you've waited so long to carry out the Botany Bay update?
I'm sorry.
So I missed the question.
Yeah, I know, I got that. Is the revenue provided from these players the reason why you've waited so long to carry out the Botany Bay update?
No, absolutely not. Look,
dear.
post cluster flutterer.
Careful how you say that.
We knew we needed a different. It was going to remain an arms race, and potentially one we couldn't win. We were surprised by how resilient and smart some of the bot makers were. As I said, a number of them shut down business, but two seemed to be particularly prevalent or resilient. Apologies. So we had to change the approach. I think building out that system took at least a good 6 months,
Yep.
if not 7. And it's been running live really the last 3 months, learning, and it's got some phenomenal capability to learn. And we've had the perfect environment to train it in, if you would. So it's that sadly that takes time. It's pained us that we haven't had it sooner. And it's like anything, good things do take time, especially if you want to do stuff that hasn't been done before. But we're there now, and I think people are going to see from Monday. Certainly starting off with wiping out gold farmers and horrible spam and stuff like that, and then followed very quickly by the 24th Botany Bay itself,
Yeah.
and some other countermeasures we got coming out.
Okay.
So
You mentioned that it learns. That
So
sounds really scary.
it's not Skynet.
Have you seen Terminator?
Don't get paranoid. No, it's just it's. In order for us to be able
wrong
to
with
work
Skynet?
out what's going on, what's wrong with Skynet? I don't know if I have a right answer to that question. It's really important for us to learn what sort of techniques the bot users are currently using, the way the bots function, what's going on, what types of pieces of content they're using, where the bots are. In order for us to be as sure as possible that we're not going to get any legitimate players, we need to heavily study all the illegitimate activity which is going on.
Okay, so there's not going to be any sudden massacre of millions of safe accounts.
No.
Due to it going mental.
look, but that took putting those safety measures in, but also for us to have the confidence to have a system that's automated, rather than ultimately what we used to have in the past was it'd always be a human who would check
manual.
it, and that gave us issues with scale and actually being able to ban them quick enough, where we did actually have queues whilst they were still able to continue working. Before our player support team were able to take them out. Now we've got something that's completely automated, but for sure we had to have a high degree of confidence that this was absolutely spot on before we launched it.
Okay. Okay, so the next question then comes from Jodie Masterman. I see a lot of posts about bots from other players. One prominent one is that now Jagex has been bought by an American company that the owners of bots pay monthly fees, you'll love this, and such are monthly money makers and for Jagex, and therefore the company will not do anything about them.
What?
Wow. I'm sure this is a wild accusation, and it might be nice if the RS team could comment on this point. Who would like to go first on that one?
That's just madness.
I can only think of an offensive word.
Yeah,
it's absolutely.
We'll try not to swear.
It's absolute nonsense. It's taken us a while to get these systems up and running. Obviously the team that are working on it can attest to that. We've got a long history of doing the right thing, irrespective. No doubt that doing this will hurt. we believe in the game, we believe in the integrity of it and everything else. And that's why we're doing this, not for any other reason.
Okay. Next one then comes from Ozis God, and he says, could be her. They say, Botany Bay looks to be designed for the human players using botting programs. Will the system take care of the bots created by botting companies, and will it also punish the gold sellers and ad bots, unless they're one and the same? I think we've kind of covered that. But I know that people that hang out at the GE find the spammers and stuff.
So hopefully they will already have seen an impact there. There are a lot of automatic mutes that we've put on those accounts which are there, which are just spamming websites, or even some of the gambling clans that run. We've muted a hell of a lot of accounts, taken them out of the game. Actually, when Botany Bay is running in the game, whatever sort of bot you are, whether you're a professional bot user or a casual player who's just sort of trying something out, they'll all go through Botany Bay. But we are intending to do, we're not necessarily going to wait for space in order to do that. We'll be going after the professional bot users straight away.
Okay. Bent Truth asks, is Botany Bay going to be on a separate world like Citadels, or will players only be seeing bots that have been found in that specific world?
Each world's got a Botany Bay.
Each world's got their own Botany Bay.
So they won't all be going to one world. And that's just simply for the reason that I gave earlier. If you see a bot getting nuked in front of you while you're all chopping down trees, I want you to be able to go to the Botany Bay on your world and see the trial.
Cool. Lee Keller, also known as Regicidal, has got in touch to say,
that's
those ways to permanently end a bot were hilarious. I like the pinata idea. There you go. That's another vote for the pinata.
Yeah. Well, like I say,
it's a great idea.
Well, it is a great idea. It's just a lot more difficult to do, and we didn't want to spend too much development time on the solutions.
I think it's worth it for a pinata, and everyone loves a pinata.
Pinatas are good fun. In fact, a friend of mine the other day, he had a Star Wars party for his son, and he built them all lightsabers for all these little kids, and he had a Death Star pinata, so all the kids were hanging around smacking it with lightsabers. There's some cool pictures.
The best thing in the world.
I know,
ever.
how
That's
cool
awesome.
is that?
Okay, so next question comes from Rain Sedai. Will reporting bots even be necessary with this new system? Are there plans to continue upgrading the system as the bots upgrade their systems? I'm guessing that yes is the answer to that.
So crucially here, we don't rely on player reports in order to ban bots, but we always consider the players to be our second line of defence. Bot watch is our first line of defence. Second line of defence is the players. If all of a sudden there was new botting activities that were occurring in the game in places where there weren't bots before, basically all of the bot reports that we get, we can see on like a heat map. So it will show us the big areas where there are lots of reports of bots. So let's say all of a sudden there were a load of reports going on in one area where we'd never had a problem before. We can focus our attention on those areas and we can deal with the problem straight away. And in order for us to do that, we need the reports from the players. So we don't need the reports in order to ban individual bots, but we do need the reports to let us know what's going on in the game.
Okay, cool. So the next question, I've heard in sort of different varieties many times over the years, and it's quite a difficult question, I think. I sometimes use mouse keys to quickly clean herbs and such in game. Is there a key? And there is a key that double clicks for you in one click. How would the system react to that? So it's like using third-party software, I suppose. Is that counted as botting? Is it acceptable?
This is such a difficult question. Look, clearly, all botting software speaks for itself. I don't think we need to cover that.
Yeah.
Anything that's used to gain, an unfair advantage in game, will be picked up. We're very much against third-party software, simply because we don't know it. We don't know the origins of it. We don't know if it's got built-in keyloggers, virus, Trojan.
We can't guarantee the safety of
man-in-the-middle
players choosing to
attacks.
download random.
Exactly
stuff.
right. Look, if someone's using Microsoft's quick keys or something like that, okay. I think it's a legitimate package built into your Windows operating system. Okay. From a security perspective, we're not going to have an issue with that. But I would say be very, very careful of any third-party packages. The line we draw in terms of bot watch is if it's actually affecting gameplay and giving an unfair advantage.
So I guess to a point, it's kind of common sense then, really. Is,
Yeah, it's really difficult, but I always say use your common sense. And at the end of the day, because we've got this 3 strikes and you're out system, if you're using something which is dodgy, but you didn't expect it to be dodgy, the system catches you out, you'll get a warning, and you've got a chance to get rid of that, the new thing you've downloaded, purge your computer, get it off there, and you've got an ability, you're not going to get banned straight away. We'll be able to warn you and say you're doing something which is against the rules, wise up.
Okay.
I mean, so many guys have fallen foul to this, like guys doing phishing and stuff, advertising, software saying this helps do this, this helps do that.
Yeah.
And all it does is
phishing.
helps steal your username and password.
Okay.
Which is a great reason to use Jagex.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really sad thing that those malicious companies that are out there that are just there to sell gold, a lot of them will just go straight after the accounts, and they'll try and hack accounts, they'll try and guess the passwords or anything like that to get hold of those accounts that have already got the high levels, already got accounts full of gold. They'll go after those accounts. And we know in the past when we've done bot nukes, we've seen that type of activity increase. We're all legitimate players as well. We all get these random crazy emails that are promising us all sorts of things from these phishing companies. That's phishing with a PH, isn't it? I always say that. We need to basically give the players as many tools as possible to make their account as secure as possible. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that Jag was in place before we put this new system into the game, to give people the abilities and the tools to help keep their account secure.
But also, I mean, actually, that's a good point. If you get an email saying, this is Jagex, your account's about to be banned, or all of that is phishing emails. We never email anyone.
Yeah.
To say your account's about to be banned. If you are botting and BotWatch picks it up, it's going to get banned. We're not going to send you an email warning you. There'll be an on-screen prompt telling you your account's been suspended, telling you about the sanctions we've applied on your first warning and things like that. But after that, it's going to get taken out.
Well, to clarify that, we wanted to give players as many notifications as possible about the warnings that they're getting. So they'll get a copy of the text with slightly more information in the email that we'll send, but we'll give them the information about what's happened to their account. But it is...
So there's no links, my point to say, there's no links in that.
No, exactly.
From us.
It's the key thing there is about the links. It's a horrible thing, because at the end of the day, these companies are making money by tricking people, and so you can get all sorts of accounts. It's really it's a really sensitive thing for us, because we want to give the players as much information. We want to be able to tell them about cool things that are going on in the game, but also we're very aware that there are companies out there that are going to send you dodgy emails. So my best advice is just don't click on any links. Like, you can read the text that's there, don't click on any links that are embedded in the emails at all. That's the best advice that I can give you.
We do send emails to players,
again,
but
I mean, I'm saying this, and I know that with the Jag stuff that we've recently done, there's all sorts of things that you can click on.
It's common sense. You've just signed up to Jag.
It's just, yeah.
The thing about it, you just signed up to Jag. You
Yeah.
get an email, activate. You know that's from us.
The timing is there. It's happening instantaneously. So
If you get an email out the blue saying, hey, we just discovered you've
yeah,
been doing bad things, click on this link to
your
appeal
account
it.
is almost about to be banned. I keep getting emails that say that. It's
Yeah.
like, please, like, what?
We don't do that.
yours might be, I don't know.
No, it's definitely not. I
been
have
botting
many accounts, and I would never ever run a bot.
Okay, that's really good to hear, by the way.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so the Lost Mage, also on the forum, says, what will happen to the items that bots hold like rares, if they've got any, or the materials that they were gathering? And the example they give is chins, dragon bones,
Chin
and dragon
chompers.
hides. Yeah. But I just like the idea of chins.
I always laughed at that idea of chins. But anyway, so
Can't we just drop them in the wildy, basically?
So the quick answer is all items that will be banned alongside with the players. So the accounts are just taken out completely. Any items that they have will also be taken out as well. There are obviously high-profile items like party hats, Christmas crackers, items which are tradable, but no longer produced within the game. Those kind of items, we keep an eye on what's going on with those items. If suddenly an account was to get banned and it had hundreds of party hats or crackers or something like that, we'd have to deal with that situation.
We'd reintroduce those.
Reintroduce them into the game, put them on the Grand Exchange, that kind of stuff.
Well, you put them back in the Grand Exchange?
Well, I mean, obviously, you can't just drop them on the floor. You can't just randomly pick accounts to give it to, because that's just not fair.
Give it to my account.
The only
That's what I thought happened to them. I thought you got them all.
I'm rich.
Definitely not.
RuneScape millionaire.
No.
Damn, because I really need some cool stuff. Okay.
I'm sorry, Paul, you can't have a party hat.
Okay. So one of the battles against bots comes from account security. We talked a bit about Jag. Lady Ninan has got a question via Reddit about Jag. Legacy accounts can't log in with their emails, which puts them at a disadvantage security-wise to new accounts created today. While the Jag is a great security booster, and as a result this move won't be as urgent, when can legacy accounts expect to see email logins for their accounts?
We are working on a project to even allow legacy accounts to use email to log in instead of the old display name or account name. Having said that, there's nothing stopping legacy accounts registering the email address.
No.
They should.
So
they get extra bank space.
All of my accounts are legacy accounts, and all of them are secure. They use Jag. Just because you can't log in with your email address doesn't mean you can't tie an email address to your account. Every account has the opportunity to use Jag, and I highly recommend that everybody does it.
So legacy accounts have always been able to...
Yeah, it's just a misunderstanding, because new accounts have the ability to log in, like to enter their email address rather than their username. People think that means that they can't do it if they're logging in with their username, but that just simply is not the case.
Okay. Right, next question comes from George Fox from Facebook, who says, with your new automated anti-bot measures, how confident are you that this is going to eradicate bots for good? And how long will it be before we can see these systems in place?
I think the approach, the change in approach means we're going to be that much more ahead of the game than we've been able to do before in terms of obfuscation. There's also, ultimately, with the old route we took, breaking the bots, obfuscating our code, there was also performance impact to a lot of people, and obviously that was something that really pained us. But nevertheless, there's a finite set of things we could do, and the benefits, the effort to produce versus the time it actually broke the bots and things like that was starting to decrease. Almost to the point that the time trade-off almost wasn't worth it. We had someone working on something for a few months for something that broke bots for a few weeks, and this gives us a far more scalable solution. And really, as I say, the advantage we now have is actually detecting behavior, player behavior, whether they don't talk, whether they talk like a bot, and various other things like that. It really helps us to disseminate who's who.
Okay, so we're not really saying then that's completely it forever for bots, but we're certainly...
We're going to continue on this. We've got a dedicated
team on this. It's a war at the end of the day. There are companies out there that are making money by selling RuneScape Gold. We know that is a fact. It's something that we hate. They're not going to just give up.
I guess they're also dedicated to it, aren't they, as well?
Exactly,
that's what they do.
As a company, we are doing all sorts of things all at the same time. We're looking after our players, we're making the game, we're building the systems that support the players while they're playing the game. This is just one of the things that we are doing to make sure that the game is alive for at least another 10 years.
Cool.
As long as it already has been, I want to see another 200 million accounts.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so Regicidal has actually got a question from Twitter here as well. Will the Botany Bay update also include a bot nuke, such as the new cluster flutter methods implemented in the game's code?
Yes. So we have the successor to...
Brilliant, what's it called?
Optimus.
It's been bandied about on the forums enough. Jack Mob's been talking about the things that we're doing. Optimus is pretty cool. It's a new way of dealing with the bots.
That's very cool transform.
I don't know about that.
That's how I got, isn't it?
I couldn't explain these things technically. I'm proper technical noob. I don't understand how these things work. I'm just happy that they do. So we're very confident that, again, 98% of the bots will just stop working completely. Those
ones,
those ones that are still working, BotWatch will come along and gobble them up.
Eat them.
Awesome. Okay. Froggers has got a question about people.
That is a cool name.
Yeah.
Frogger is one of my all-time favourite games.
They've got a question about spamming up the chat to advertise stuff. They
Right.
say, after you take care of botters, is there anything going to be done about gamblers and gambling clans? What about the autotypers that gamblers use to advertise their gambling? I've reported the same gamblers over 20 to 30 times each.
Ah, rage. So hopefully you would already have seen that a lot of the chat spammers have already been dealt with. We've muted a whole load of accounts, we've banned a whole load of accounts. That problem is something that we feel like that we're doing something about now. Botwatch will continue to do things about those kind of accounts. In terms of the activities that are going on around at the moment with flower games and stuff like that, there's clearly an appetite for high-risk gameplay. I can see that that's going on, but...
Well, that's the wilderness, isn't it?
But yeah, it's exactly. The wilderness is pretty damn high risk at the end of the day. You know, there's greater death penalties in RuneScape than any other game that you'll get out there, apart from games that have like permadeath servers and things like that. Basically, I can see that there's an appetite for that kind of high-risk gameplay. I don't like the way that it's running at the moment. There's clear links between some big gambling clans and gold farming. There's scamming that goes on. I'd much rather provide a safe environment for them to do something like that. But the way that it dominates the chat that you find around areas like the Grand Exchange are unacceptable for us.
Okay. Save Love, man, says...
Don't save love, share love.
Are you working to take down the major bot sites right now?
Yeah, absolutely. And part of the Botwatch and Optimus launch, Botany Bay, will also be us trying to take down the last two of the bot makers, Epic Bot and PowerBot. So Adil and Bert, we're coming for you.
Nice, nice. Okay.
First name terms.
Well, they will be with our lawyers.
Yeah.
And hopefully the police soon.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well,
we're going after them civilly and criminally.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. That's going to come as really good news to a lot of people, I think. Awesome. But probably not them. Okay, so what if somebody has actually been lured to one of those sites by accident? Are they, by accidentally visiting a site because they've, I don't know, seen an email or something, is that going to mean that they are going to be caught by Botwatch, or is it instant?
Botwatch is about what they do in game.
yeah.
It's not about the programs you're running. It's not about where you've been, your internet history. It's about what you do in game.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so
And maybe to that point, I mean, I was reading the forums, and some suspicious people are going, "Well, Jagex, the precursor to their Botwatch." And it's absolutely not. The two systems aren't related. Jagex is just about locking down, safe devices, trusted devices for yourself. Botwatch is about picking up what you do in game, and that disseminates you from a normal player.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So we're going to take a break fairly shortly, and we're going to get together all of the questions that you've been sending us in on Twitter and on Facebook. I've got a few more I want to ask you just before we do that.
Okay.
But yeah, just thought I'd give you a heads up. So if you want to get a question in, now's a brilliant time to send us a tweet or a message on Facebook, or even the forums, I believe, as well.
I've remembered a cool story about Bots in Classic as well that I have to tell you.
Brilliant. Okay. Right, where was I? Robert Coleman from Facebook. He would like to know, how is Jagex handling the bots advertising gold farming websites on trial membership accounts?
So, as I already said, any chat spammers that we identify, we muted thousands of them not so long ago. A lot of them weren't active anymore. We could just tell from their history what they've been doing, and that's just to stop them. You know, if we ban a whole load of accounts, they'll start using a few more. So we just wanted to get everything out. Purge the system really of chat spammers, and because they're on trial membership as well, we can be extra secure about things that are going on. We can basically, if they're a like really new account, we can look at them even more carefully.
Well, we don't have to be as tolerant, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Darth Vader, possibly not the genuine Darth Vader. Will Jagex start making and selling their own Jagex-approved bot clients?
I make it a personal rule never to answer questions from Sith Lords, so I'm not sure I can answer that.
No.
No, go on, tell me it again.
Are we going to make our own bot?
Are we going to make it? No, we're not going to make our own bots. We hate bots, scum of the earth, and we won't be tolerating any kind of bot use at all. We're certainly not going to do it ourselves.
Perfect. Okay. And then last question before we have a little break. Question from Heatley, who says, will we see more security-related updates like Jag in the future, and will these be free, or will we have to pay for them?
Yes, and we'll do everything we can to make them free. So some of you may remember a few years ago we were looking at the
Dongle.
security token. Actually, one of the reasons we didn't do it was because of the price.
Yeah.
And we believe what we got now is superior, but we're also working on further systems which allow you to secure your account even more, which we think we can do for free as well.
Cool. Okay. Right, let's have a break then, guys. So Jag, then you've heard a bit about this evening already. This week's behind the scenes talks about the challenge system and Jag. So if we're going to cue the video, and if you're still wondering what Jag exactly is, hopefully this video will clear all of that up for you. So cue the video. We'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
There are few things in life more frustrating than falling victim to some scallywag taking all your stuff and emptying your bank account. Thanks Sarah Domin then, that Jag is here. Before we get stuck into that though, Mod Liono's got a brand new challenge system for you.
The challenge system is a brand new piece of content we're putting into RuneScape that is designed to encourage variety in skilling methods and also to teach players that those skilling methods exist and how to do them. There are over 700 challenges in the challenge system, which cover high level and low level content in every skill in the game. You can expect to see a whole variety of activities in the challenge system, from chopping a bunch of trees, mining a bunch of ore, killing a boss in God Wars, massacring a bunch of goblins in a cave. There's a whole bunch in there to cater to all gaming styles. You can complete as many challenges as you want to in one day in order to get the guidance. The special challenges or the daily challenges, you get 1 extra a day and you can have up to 5 active at once. When you get a new one, your 5th one will drop off the bottom of the list, and those are the ones you want to complete because those ones give you big tasty rewards at the end. The benefit of doing daily challenges compared to skilling as normal is that you will be rewarded for the time as if you had spent it doing the most efficient method, as well as gaining whatever resources and XP you do for doing whatever the challenge asks you to do. So if you're doing some mining and the challenge is to mine some mithril, we ask you to mine mithril for 10 minutes, you'll get 10 minutes of XP as if you were drop mining iron, which is the most efficient method. So it will basically double up your XP gain for that time. As well as the XP for the challenges, because some of them ask you to give the items you earn in, you get given a bag of rewards at the end, which will be equivalent of the value that you had to put in. So say you had to hand in 10 mithril ore, we'll give you a bag that's worth the same on the GE as 10 mithril ore, but it will give you crafting materials in another skill that up to that value. So you might get a big stack of summoning tertiary ingredients, or you might get a big stack of dragon hides in return for your mithril ore. We've got one new colourful NPC who's been introduced. He's the Imperial Guard Quartermaster, handles all your challenge needs and gives out the rewards and things. He's a bit grumpy, he got wounded in war and now he does inventory all day, so that's why he's handling out the challenges instead of out there fighting the trolls, and he's not too pleased about it. He's situated in Burthorpe in the combat hub. Alongside the challenge system, we're introducing a new interface called the notice board. The notice board is going to be the new one-stop shop for finding out what you should be doing in RuneScape at your levels. So we're going to have the featured content panel on the notice board, which will display the most appropriate skilling, combat, quests for you to do, as well as advertising the most recent updates. There'll be the challenge system, which contains the challenges and daily challenges that are currently accessible. There's the quest system, which will integrate the quest list and the quest journal all back onto the notice board, so that all that information is in one place instead of spread across multiple interfaces. We've also got the achievements tab, which will integrate the task system and the old achievement diaries all in one place, and the minigames tab, which will let you access minigames quickly, like it will teleport you to the nearest lodestone and it will swap worlds to the themed world if there is one for that minigame. We're always trying to evolve the challenge system, and the best way to make something better is to ask the people who use it. So if you've got an idea, then get in touch on the forums, in the suggestions forums, just give us your ideas and we'll see if we can put them in.
It's rare that you hear exciting and account security mentioned in the same sentence, but yes, there is indeed some exciting news about your account security with the launch of the Jagex Account Guardian, or JAG. Very clever. We tracked down Mod Juice to find out more.
Jagex Account Guardian is an enhanced level of security. So it's something in addition to your login name and password. It allows you to lock your account down to certain devices of your choice, just by going through some simple security checks. What it means as well is that you can actually set up temporary access or permanent access. So it's a pretty cool feature for you to have if you're interested in keeping your account safe, which I suggest everyone should be. Hijacking is illegal. In most places around the world, you can be prosecuted for it. And we've got a lot of ongoing cases at the moment to tackle that. And we've got a specialist team who actually look after it 24/7 to ensure that we're doing all we can to stop organised scams and other individuals from being able to hijack your account.
I work for the anti-hijacking and phishing team. We work 24/7 investigating accounts, making sure that they're secure, that they're in the hands of their owners. And we're constantly looking at ways to stay one step ahead of the hijackers and the fishers. That's one of the reasons we implemented Account Guardian. We spend a lot of our time tracking down hijackers, investigating them, finding out who they are so that we can liaise with law enforcement to try and get action taken against them. We've had a few successful arrests in the past, and we've got a few ongoing cases now, so anyone who's actively involved in hijacking or is thinking about starting it might want to think about finding another hobby to do.
To use Jag, it's really simple. All you need to do is go to your account settings. There's a Jag tab in there. Open that up and you'll see there's an enable button. Click that, just follow the on-screen instructions. It's all done through your validated email address. Ask you to set up some security questions that you'll be asked when adding devices at a later stage. It's really important that you put memorable answers into each of the questions that when you're setting it up, because when we ask them at a later stage, it'll be in a random order, so you need to be able to recall them. But if for whatever reason you have forgotten them, you don't know what they are, if you go to the FAQ, there's some questions and tips in there, but also some contact details to get in touch with the customer support team. If you've got more than one RuneScape account, I actually recommend that you put Jag on all of those accounts. So it's available for every account, for every player. So if you want to protect your account and try and ensure it doesn't end up in the wrong hands, enable Jag.
Anyone's interested in finding out more about how to keep their account secure or what sort of phishing threats are ongoing at the moment, there's loads of information about it on the wiki. So just head over to the account security section of the RuneScape wiki and you can find all the information you might need.
If you've been wondering what's in store for Al Kharid, then you really don't want to miss next week's Behind the Scenes. We'll bring you news on Stolen Hearts and Diamond in the Rough, two brand new quests coming to RuneScape very soon.
Gerhard, not Mark 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 Gerhard, not. Gerhard.
So, don't know where that second video came from. I think we have to blame Jane for that. Still a classic though. How are you feeling about
Gerhard quest, it just comes up all the time.
Yeah.
It breaks the fourth wall, damn it!
Have you seen the more recent one with you two in?
Let's not talk about that. It did make me laugh. But, I don't think...
What does it come up under? Is it?
It comes up under what has been seen cannot be unseen, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Well,
in fact, it doesn't come up as that.
Okay,
Don't
we need to find a link
all
for that
sorts
because
of
that's classic.
No, let's not.
Okay, right. So we've got loads of your comments and questions then from forums, Twitter, and Facebook that you've been sending in while we've been going. So. Actually, first though, you want to tell us a brilliant anecdote about Classic.
So, I just thought of this thing as we were talking. Back in Classic, one of the bots had something on it which was called a mod mark sensor. And what would happen is if I walked into the game in my JMod account, walk into the area, if I said anything, then a bot would automatically reply, "Oh, hi Mod Mark, how are you?" And then the next line would be, "Oh, sorry, my mum's calling me for my dinner. I've got to go. I'll be back." And the first time that this happened, I'm like, "Oh, right, that's strange." And then it happened again, and I thought, that's really odd, because it's exactly the same text as that dude said earlier. And then I went into this one area, and I just typed "yo." And there were like 10 bots that all said exactly the same thing at the same time. They all said, "Oh, hi, Mark, how are you? Oh, sorry, I've got to go for dinner. My mum's calling me." And so I was just writing down all the names of the accounts that were just saying this and just going into the back end of the system and banning them all straight away. Didn't even need to look at what they were doing in the game because basically they were announcing themselves as bots. It was pretty cool, and the legitimate players that were there, they always had a good old laugh when that happened. So it's quite cool.
Fun to see some retro bot action like that.
Yeah, they basically were just going, "Hey, ha, ha, check me out," just telling me that they were a bot, and I could just ban them straight away.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But as I say, this was back in the day where, we only had, 10, 20, 30,000 members, something like that, and there were small enough numbers that we could actually do these things by hand, because we could.
Nice.
But,
Should we get stuck back in?
Yeah.
Great story though.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was cool.
So Rematog on the forums.
Classic. Sorry.
Rematog on the forums has said, will players ever be given a way to help with bots, like being able to give events to other players, which would of course keep a bot out of play for a while, making it easier for Jagex to ID it as a bot?
Whilst that is a cool idea, the sad thing is that there are a lot of griefers out there, and people would end up using it to grief other people's genuine activity. They'd end up saying, "Oh, look, there's a person there on a rune rock that I want to use. I'll trigger an event for them to occupy them so I can get an advantage." And that's not something that we want to do. So that's not possible.
Okay. Johnny Hart on Twitter says, what will be happening to the usernames of accounts that are banned? Will we be releasing banned usernames?
Yeah, the account will be deleted.
So then it does
names
become
will come
immediately available. Okay, cool. Samuel on Reddit says, will Botany Bay be used for other permanently bannable offences, for example, real-world trading?
That's not currently the plan. Botany Bay is just there for the bots, which is why we called it Botany Bay, because it's got,
that does make
got
sense.
bots
in the name.
Okay. Fender Scarl on the forum says, can you explain how exactly do you confirm that a particular person is botting? I mean, what if the person you have prosecuted for botting in Botany Bay was innocent? Would you listen to him via a ban appeal?
No. So that's why we got the warning system.
Yeah.
Just to make absolutely sure. But we're very confident. We're extremely confident.
Yeah, we can't
that
really
we're
talk
not
about
going
the
to
methods.
be we're not going to be catching innocent people.
Yeah.
Okay. Can't Shuffle says, I think I speak on most Australian players' behalf when I say that I will not tolerate Jagex naming the bot stomping place Botany Bay.
Sorry?
I think I speak on most Australian players' behalf when I say that I will not tolerate Jagex naming the bot stomping place Botany Bay. Do you realise that this is an insult to the true Botany Bay? We will not tolerate this.
So I'm not trying to upset any Australians. We called it Botany Bay because Botany Bay has got the word bot in it, and it's got something to do with criminals and things like that. Obviously, Australia has changed a lot. It's not full of criminals. I don't like when people say that.
It's good for you to make that point clear.
Let's not. I don't want to offend any Australians. We just called it Botany Bay because it's got the word bot in it. I liked it as a pun. My team always get upset with me because I always try and put too many puns in the game. I'm not trying to offend anyone, and I am sorry if we have, but that's not the intention.
Not the intention.
Okay. Borax has come back again and said, when we report a bot, is there or will there be any way for us to see if the report got followed up upon and what the result was?
Sorry?
So basically, if somebody reports a bot, will somebody be able to get to see themselves whether that report was successful and whether it was a bot that they correctly identified?
If we did that, that system could be abused by even bot makers for griefing and by other people to try and probe how systems work. So we won't give any feedback on that.
So other than them maybe seeing it in Botany Bay, there's any chance they would actually...
This is something that we considered a long time ago, just for any old kind of report. If a load of people reports one person for the same thing, then we can't tell all of those people that their report was accurate. There's all sorts of different things, like what field that they ticked when they report someone. You know, it's very difficult, almost impossible, for us to have a system that would let you know whether or not your report was valid or invalid. So it's just something that we haven't really explored, because the rewards for doing something like that are pretty small. We'd rather ask people to use their time to develop other systems or improve Botwatch.
Cool. Okay. DHG Gamble on the forum says, will there be another bar banned account reinstatement in the future? Yeah, no, I don't. Will there be another bar banned account reinstatement in the future? Bar being an acronym for...
reinstatement.
So accounts banned, unbanned.
Let's try again.
No.
Will there be another banned account reinstatement in the future?
So there was, for a while, there were some accounts which we'd permanently banned in the past for things like advertising websites, which no longer carry a permanent ban, and we allowed a lot of those accounts to be reappealed so that the users, but they're not bots. I'm not sure that there's an answer to that question, really, because of all of those accounts, we identified the ones that we wanted to come back into the game. We gave them another chance. I'm not sure if we're intending to do that again. I couldn't give you a clear answer on that. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
But I think that's what he's referring to.
Okay. Lost Horizon says, will you also be tracking the trades that suspected botting accounts make?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to link them and...
We will.
Brilliant. Okay. OSX Mountain Lion on the forums.
OSX Mountain?
Some clever advertising that is.
Oh, right.
Botters currently have a variety of different types of botting platforms, such as Injection, Reflection, Colour, and most recently OpenGL.
That's right.
So my question is, will your new anti-bot system target specific types of bots, or will it detect and ban all types equally? All
bots.
Okay. ODK
Especially the little colour pickers. Just because we haven't touched them for a while.
Well,
we'll start there.
We are confident that every sort of bot that is currently running in RuneScape will get identified and taken out by Botwatch.
Okay, cool. ODK Razor on the forum says, we have seen a lot of bots in Castle Wars lately. Do you feel like adding 5k Castle War games played as a goal in the game just encourages this botting problem?
It amazes me how much of a problem people have with this. That 5k is for the completionist cape, and it's not the kind of activity that we expect every single player to go through. The concept of having a completionist cape is not something that everybody wants. It is something that we added some time ago. I personally feel uncomfortable about changing that now. It is something that we will continue to look at, and I'm sure in a few months' time I'll have another member of staff come along and say, let's rethink this.
Okay.
But right now, that's not my intention.
Cool. Got a message there from Scotty who says, can you tell them that I love them? Thanks.
Cheers, Scotty.
Cheers, Scotty.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants us to say we love him back.
Yeah.
But,
Love you, Scotty.
I don't know who you are, Scotty, so, you know.
You might be weird.
No, definitely not.
Don't insult Scottish
He's got
people.
too cool a name. I would never insult Scottish people because I am Scottish.
Just checking.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we heard Mod Mark mentioning the permanent and temporary bans to accounts that are guilty to botting.
Yep.
Recently there has been a lot of curiosity regarding how long these temporary bans will last. For instance, how long will the first and second warnings last?
So all of the information regarding the bans that will come out with Botany Bay will be in all the news posts at the time. We're also expecting to have some videos so you can see the kind of things that will happen to the bot users, so no one feels stupid enough to actually download a bot and look at it themselves, because that's the last thing we want to happen. But all of the information will be on the news posts when we introduce it that week. So make sure you read the news.
Cool, okay. So we've got loads of really nice comments coming in for you guys as well.
Cool.
Angel UK Tenor says, I'm enjoying the stream. I can't wait for next week's stream, which is going to be about the evolution of combat.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be exciting.
It's very exciting.
I'm dying for an answer for next week. So, okay, cool. And Lewis says, why the comparison to Salem? These people were innocent bots, aren't? That doesn't make sense.
It's just a thematic thing, really. Obviously, the witch trials and things like that is, people say they weren't real. People say that these people were innocent. It's just a thematic link, really. It is something that happened in history, so it's something that we base
borrow
the
influences
event
from all over the
Yeah,
place,
exactly.
don't you?
I ask my team to be inspired by all sorts of things. So what's wrong with actually using something that actually happened in history? I think it's a good thing. Just in the same way as we have all sorts of pieces of content that relate to mythology, it's not real.
Cool, okay. Cake Thief, could you include a warning or advice against botting in the tutorial? This could deter people and make sure that people know more what the rules are.
I think it's just as likely to make them go, oh, I wonder what botting is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to find out about that.
Exactly.
Okay. Angus Murdoch on Twitter says, will all banned bots' names be available to us when they've been destroyed? Yeah, I think we've already answered that, yeah. On All Day on Reddit says, we've got 3 questions and they've even numbered them. Number 1, will you provide stats on how many bots are being banned?
No. Sure. I always get worried about this kind of thing because it makes the problem seem a lot worse than it actually is, and people start saying, oh look, you've banned all this amount of people, you can't count them as legitimate accounts. People get bogged down too much with numbers, and I think that if it was up to me, then I would say it would be a mistake to do something like that because it makes it a bigger issue than it actually is. But Mark's the boss, so...
Convince me.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll have a good heated discussion about that in the future.
Number 2, will monster spawn rates increase?
Why?
I don't know.
Don't need to.
That's a question that's
I
completely
think maybe we
irrelevant.
just sort of stuck that in there to see if you can just answer that. Because there's another one about bots after this, so...
Will monster spawn rates increase? No. Well...
Why would they?
If people are worried, I don't see any reason for them to need to increase currently.
Number 3, will you name and shame? This is probably a question for
Yes.
you, Mark. Yes, there you go. I don't know.
Well, it starts off with, even when you're suspected, you
Yes,
get the finger.
that is name and shame. At the end of the day, this evil crooked finger will be pointing at you saying you are being suspected. You are a bot user. It's not like you are being suspected. This account is currently using a bot. We are letting everybody else know. We're even, we currently reserve the right to tell everybody on your friends list and all sorts of stuff like that. It's not right. It is fundamentally wrong. It can't be tolerated in the game. So yeah, we will be naming and shaming. When you go to Botany Bay, you go to the event, you will see the character stood there in the middle of the arena. You'll be able to see their name. You'll be able to chuck rotten tomatoes at them. There's no greater naming and shaming than that.
We're telling all your friends
At
that point?
It's something we're reserving the right to do.
What about go around to people's houses and telling their mum? Would we do that at all?
I think that might be a bit much.
Okay, all right.
What if their mum's botting?
What if their mum's botting? I don't like the direction that this conversation
We should move on.
Christian Scott on Twitter says, how is the market going to recover from the lack of botted resources? Are there systems in place to prevent massive price spikes?
That is a very interesting question. And I really don't know the answer to that. We see prices fluctuate all of the time. Right now, there are certain resources that people don't feel it's worthwhile them going after because the market is dominated by the bots. They're not getting the money that's worthwhile for the time. You might argue that certain resources are too low in value right now because people aren't investing genuine time into getting them. People always talk about the price of fish. For a long time, sharks were 1K. The price fluctuates all the time. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that question.
Well, the balancing team will be looking at it as
exactly.
they do every day.
Yeah.
Okay, Marsha the Cat on Twitter says, do you think Botany Bay will serve as a warning to new players?
I think only if you're aware of what bots are or botted before. I expect new players to be.
I think most new players will be oblivious to
They've
what's
got enough going on, I suppose,
Yeah,
when you
exactly.
first start playing.
They've got like 20 plus skills to work out how to use. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Over 170 quests, so scratch their head about.
You never guess who's tweeted this? Zeus.
Zeus?
Zeus.
Zeus.
It's amazing.
How is Olympus, and do say hi to the other gods for me.
He said, it's so easy to catch the auto spammers at the GE. Why can't a mob just hop worlds and ban them all? It would be nice, says Zeus of Olympia.
We used to try and do that in the past. It's impossible
Doesn't
for
scale
us to stay on top of that situation. The more people we chuck at it, the more accounts they create. It's not a scalable solution, is it?
Johnny Buck says...
But we do have a solution to it. I mean,
Yeah.
Botwatch will be able to pick out spam
Yeah,
and
and
stuff like
they're
that.
already getting muted right now.
Yep.
Johnny Buck says, are members that use bots less likely to get banned as a non-member that uses a bot?
No,
Not at all. It's the same for any player.
just because you're a member doesn't mean we'll give you special treatment. Everyone gets the same treatment when it comes to botting.
Cool. Adam Banassi says, when is the update coming?
Soon. All of the Botwatch stuff will be live by the end of September. We're very confident about that.
Okay.
But from next week, from Monday, they'll start seeing
They
gold farmer
may
and
may
various other
well
accounts.
see impacts of certain things happening in the game.
Okay. Daykeeper says, what will happen to the bots items when they are banned, gone forever, distributed into the economy? I think we've answered that
Okay,
already.
He's clearly not watching the live
yeah,
stream.
you can rewind
closely
it,
enough.
Daykeeper.
You hit your rewind button.
Okay. Plater Fish says, what happens if the bots actually stop botting when Botany Bay happens? Will they still be reset or anything?
Hey?
I guess
What
it's
if they
like,
stop botting now?
what happens if the bots actually stop botting when Botany Bay happens?
Well, if they're
that's
not
what we
botting,
want.
that's not a problem, right?
Yeah, if they're not botting, then they've got nothing to worry about.
So I guess in an ideal world, then Botany Bay would be fairly quiet because we'd have managed to...
Look,
Well, that'd be a great
It's a luxury
that
problem
would be
to have,
great.
isn't it?
If Botany Bay was empty on every world because no one was botting, I would consider that to be a success, and we would no doubt enjoy a beer.
Cool. Okay.
You know what?
Maybe. I don't appear to have a beer. You see, that's what you get when you're CEO.
Yeah.
Beer on tap.
So,
Because I can.
Peter Mill says, satisfaction of watching a bot die, win, in capital letters, exclamation mark.
Yes,
Not a lot you can say
exactly.
to
think
that,
so.
other than...
Yeah, have a bit of fun.
Nice.
Let's point the finger at them and call them scummers. And get your flaming pitchfork and do sand people type emotes. Pretty cool.
Oh, sand people emotes.
Sadly not a sound. Oh dear, I probably shouldn't
I'll
have
move
done
on.
move
Ninjago1 says, are you afraid of the Botany Bay becoming dead content if there are no more bots to ban? Oh, there you go. I just kind of...
I think that'd be a great
Wow.
success.
Yeah.
It would be great. Could have a little dance.
Input says, how did you get the idea of Botany Bay?
Various different ideas, really. There's a mod, Tony W, I think is his in-game name. He is the wizard behind things like the pirate quests. He's got some awesome content out there. In fact, the Halloween stuff that we've got coming out in a month or two is his work as well. He has some fantastic ideas. And you know, the art team that we work with, they contribute to the process as well. The audio boys, we were involved as well when we were picking the voice for the Botmaster, the Bot Finder General. Lots of people contribute to it all the time. I have to accept responsibility for the name of it, though, as I say.
Cool. Or one I've just seen come up there. Is there a way to add back the evil chicken and other dangerous random events to battle the bots?
So, bit of a reveal here. Now that we've got a decent way to deal with
RuneScape
the
3
bots,
last week, this week it's random. Brilliant.
I do intend to remove the anti-macro events from the game.
Thank you.
Whilst I want to leave them in the game in terms of their personalities, they feature in a lot of the court cases that we have, the in-game court cases, I should say. I don't want to have random
I'm glad
events.
you made that clarification.
Yeah, I don't want random events coming in the game anymore. Whilst all of us experienced players can handle them, and in fact, in many situations, we look forward to seeing them. the majority of brand new users just have no idea of what's going on. And you know, we brought in anti-macro events to deal with bots. We know that some bots can get around them. We know that some bots are going to suffer from them. But with BotWatch, we've got a better system to deal with it. And the last thing I want is for a legitimate player to decide to stop playing because they can't pick up, you know, correct baked goods from a sandwich lady tray or something like that.
But we might still see a drunken dwarf in some guise or other.
That's a good example. So the drunk dwarf hasn't been an anti-macro event for some time, but he does feature in Keldegrim and in a variety of other places as well. So, yeah.
Brilliant, okay. Vicky says, will there be a final bot nuke before you bring up Botany Bay, and when will it be? And please tell Mark his ranks are watching.
Thanks. So that's Vicky, who's one of my PMods. He is a PMod and is one of my ranks in my friends chat channel. I've completely forgotten the question already. I was thinking about my ranks.
I've just thrown my bit of paper on the floor now. It's not that one.
When's it coming? I think may have been the question.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Will there be a bot nuke before?
So we answered that question, Vicky. So Optimus will come in. We're expecting that to deal with the majority of bots. The bots that it doesn't deal with, BotWatch will take out completely. So the answer is yes. There will be kind of like a bot nuke.
And when will it be?
It's all going to happen before the end of September.
Okay, cool. That's all the comments and questions I've got from Twitter. So
wow.
I think that's probably it for this evening.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Normally, player base are so vocal. I was expecting to be here for hours.
Yeah.
But
well,
it's a good thing.
There's always next to...
Oh,
Simon's
hang on a
waving
minute. Simon's
paper.
waving a piece like a Neville Chamberlain.
Like a drunken dwarf.
Waving a piece of paper.
Thank you, Simon. Brilliant. Okay. Last few then. So Chris on Twitter says, how many people are there working on the anti-bot systems, and will you be constantly updating the anti-bot systems?
So for some time it was most of the game engine team.
Yep.
As Mark alluded to, Jack Mob has been also running point on a lot of the stuff and done a phenomenal job. Yes, there'll be a team who look at all parts of this, not just the tech side, but the customer support side, as well as updating the heuristics as we go forward.
Cool. Skeletor57 says, will the bots banned be removed from the high scores? Yep, okay. Luke Dakota Morrison says, after Botany Bay, do you think you guys would add any more ways of executions and possibly make a poll and let the players choose any new ways? I love that.
Yes, I love that.
Possibly, yeah.
Play a poll would be cool.
There's all sorts of different things that we could do.
Pinata.
Loot Pinata is obviously a popular suggestion.
Yeah.
I like the idea of tarring and feathering them and then just like sailing them out on a boat. But yeah,
that says a lot about you, doesn't it?
Perhaps it does.
I like tarring and feathering.
Okay.
That's Saturdays, not Sundays.
I think
Keep your own life out of this, Mark.
We're a creative company. We're always going to come up with crazy ideas. So who knows?
Okay. A couple more then. Inglip says, I'm thinking of starting botting because I'm sick of all these bots.
What?
It's either quit or start botting. What should I choose? Have you been watching the wrong stream? Hang on.
Do
you have any advice for Inglip?
Inglip, you should wise up and smell the coffee.
Okay. And then the last one we've got then is Bannon Rules. Hi Mod Mark and Mod MMG. Question to you two are, how fast can a bot get detected with this new Botany-based system?
Quite quickly. And like we said before, once they're botting, there's actually very little time to create any meaningful wealth or XP before we're able to intercept it.
Cool, okay. So I think that's probably it then for this week then. Let's call it a day, and you're both going to be back next week when we start talking about the evolution of combat.
I don't know, that might be me and Dan, or me and Mark. I'm definitely in it.
You're there, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely there.
Brilliant.
But who knows, there might be other Jagex peeps joining us.
I know we're going to get a huge bunch of questions. I'm expecting it
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I reckon we'll be here for some time. It should be exciting.
Well, cool.
Awesome.
I like little more than talking about RuneScape.
No doubt. Okay, so if you've got any questions about the evolution of combat, or you've got any comments that you'd like to make, there's a Twitter feed, there's a Facebook page, there's the forum, so get your questions in. We'll be putting a news post up in a week to sort of point you in the right direction there. So I think that's about it then, yeah? Should we wave goodbye and say cut the stream? Should we do that?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Take care.
Take care.
Thanks for all the questions.
Bye.